Guys, look at that. Sauvage. Sauvage again. Boom. I was like curling, like the Olympic sport there. What? These aren't Sauvage. These are clones. How dare you look so similar to the real thing and smell so similar too. Yes, clones are the agenda of the day, and clone brands are everywhere now. It seems like there's a new clone brand every single week. You know, you get caught up on all the different brands, all the different fragrances. You turn around, boom, there's 50 more new ones. Today, we are talking about one clone brand in particular, and that is Fragrance World. Yes, the world of fragrances. Fragrance World, that's the name of the house. So they've been bringing some fire lately. Just a lot of clones that are tip-top magoo, some of the best stuff out there. I don't know why I just turned Italian.
So, T, what do you think we should do?
Sopranos. So anyway, Fragrance World, that's on the agenda today. 10 different fragrances, 10 clones from Fragrance World that I think everybody should know about. Some of these are more well-known. Some of these are definitely lesser known. And I couldn't even tell you how many other Fragrance World fragrances are out there that I have never smelled that, you know, hopefully I'll find and check out in the future like a greedy little goblin, just scooping up all those clones. So each one of these is gonna be linked down in the description below. Feel free to check them out down there. Some of these are gonna be available at, you know, random places. I know Triple Traders has some of these, and you can use the code that's on the screen now to save some money at Triple Traders. Some of the others are a little bit more difficult to find in the US right now, but I'm sure that'll change. Some of them you have to, you know, just Google search and try to find them. So I'm gonna be sharing with you guys the clone and what it's a clone of. Each one of these I think is definitely worth checking out if you want an alternative to the fragrance that I mentioned it's a clone of. That was a really roundabout way to say that. First one is pretty obvious. I've talked about this one a few times before. It's Enigma Un. This is a clone of Dior's Sauvage Elixir. Yeah, Sauvage Elixir. We're on a Sauvage kick here to start things off. Now, of course, everybody knows Lattafa Assad. That is probably the biggest Sauvage Elixir clone at this point, but for my taste, I prefer this one a little bit more. It's a little closer, I feel like, to actual Sauvage Elixir, and has more of a concentration on that spiciness, the woodiness, not quite as much on the vanilla as Assad does. So for me, it gets a little bit closer to actual Elixir. Presentation looks good, it's heavy, feels nice in the hand, and the quality is there. It's really nice. The only drawback with this one is the squeaky sound it makes. Ooh, makes me just want to squeeze it until it explodes in my hand for some reason. Stop making a noise. But the fragrance is really, really, really good. So Sauvage Elixir, if you want an alternative to that, boom, right here, check this out. Now, this is the first one that got me into Fragrance World in a big way. It is Men Nebula. Yes, Men Nebula. This is the one that kicked it off for me. Because truth be told, before I smelled this one, I hadn't really looked into Fragrance World all that much. If I'm honest, I had seen a few fragrances pop up on like Fragrance Buy and stuff, but never really had too much of an interest at the time to check them out. And then I heard that this was a clone of Pure Malt, and I was like, well, now I'm interested. Pure Malt, of course, by Mugler, and it was an awesome fragrance. It's, you know, super expensive nowadays because it's discontinued, so you have to pick it up from eBay, and you know, you're gonna pay a pretty penny. But I always felt like Pure Malt and Pure Havane were the two best fragrances that Mugler had put out from men. Like, just awesome scents. One of the best boozy fragrances, Pure Malt. One of the best tobacco fragrances, Pure Havane, that was available. So it was an enormous gut punch when those disappeared. So to have a possible alternative to that and have it be good was really intriguing. I didn't have enormous hopes, but I got this in, and I gotta tell you, it is stupid good. For the price point especially. It captures that essence of Pure Malt, and it makes it where you can experience that again and again without paying an astronomical price. So this one you have got to get if you like boozy fragrances that are still really wearable. I think the bottle itself looks like kind of a hybrid Nautica Voyage type looking bottle, but man, I don't care at all. This is great. After that, let's talk about Supreme LOM Extreme. It's really obvious what this one is, isn't it? Yeah, this is a clone of LOM Extreme by Guerlain. Now, that fragrance has become a bit easier to find at discounters nowadays. For a long time, basically right after it came out, LOM Extreme, up until recently, you could not find this stuff in the US really at all. But here lately, it's been easier to find. You can find it at retail, you can find it at discounters, not heavily discounted, but you can find it at least typically. It does sell out from time to time, but not at all like it used to be. But this right here is way cheaper. Even at discounted prices, it's way cheaper than what LOM Extreme goes for, and it's gonna get you really close to that fragrance. It has that sweetness off the top, that kind of leathery undertone, everything that LOM Extreme does, this does as well. So whereas a 100 ml of LOM Extreme is gonna run you about $105 at most discounters, right around there, this is gonna be closer to 34 or 35. So yeah, about $70 less. After that, we have Apex. Now, this fragrance, I've said this before, when I first got this in, when I got the haul in, I thought was for sure going to be a clone of Roger Parfum's Apex because, well, first off, it's named Apex. Second off, the bottle is in a similar shape. And then you look at this presentation, like I've said before, this is screaming Roger Parfum. And yet it is not. This is not a clone of Apex, not at all. No, I'm just playing. This is a clone of Penhaligon's The Blazing Mr. Sam, which is quite expensive. Well, I mean, you can find The Blazing Mr. Sam at Joma Shop, to be fair, at a discount, but it's still $240. So yeah, this is another one that is a big savings over what it's cloning. It has cardamom, cinnamon, tobacco, just a really pleasant fragrance that has a bunch of warm spices there right off the top. The quality is really good as well. Good performance. It is a compliment puller. It's got nice versatility, fall and winter time. It is great. The presentation is interesting in that, you know, half of people are probably gonna look at that box in this bottle and think, oh, that's a really nice step up, quite unique. It even says Fragrance World on the back. And some other people will look at this and be like, I'm not sure about the whole tiger head thing. I think it's grown on me a bit as time goes on. When I see it on the shelf, I'm like, well, I definitely know what that is. So this one, The Blazing Mr. Sam, and that is exceptionally done. It's really close to spot on. After that, we have King of Diamonds. Now, this line has a number of really good clones in it. This is not at all the most popular in this line. The most popular is going to be the clone of La Nuit de l'Homme Bleu Electrique, which is Jack of Clubs. So if you're looking for that one, it's Jack of Clubs. And that one's actually really well done also. I think that right now, if you want a La Nuit de l'Homme Bleu Electrique alternative, that's the one to get. I've smelled a few other fragrances that are supposed to be Bleu Electrique and they're not really close, but Jack of Clubs gets the job done. Now, King of Diamonds is something completely different. What you're gonna get with this one is, I don't know why I like doing that, Vertus Narcosis. And the quality is great. As soon as you spray this one on, no alcohol, no nothing, just smells exactly like what it should smell like, which is Narcosis. When I move, the bottle just keeps making noises. And again, Fragrance World right down there at the bottom, just to let you know what you got. So this one has a really tangy, kind of tropical, sweet, fruity opening, mango in there, rhubarb, ginger. I think it smells great. Very close to the Vertus, but it is not something that works for everybody, just like the fragrance that it is emulating. Because there is this sort of like green tang around the edge of the fragrance when you first spray it on. So it has, I don't know, it's got this kind of like duality to it, where it's very sweet and inviting and, like I said, kind of tropical, but then it has this like this edge to it, this tang, this green feel, this little bit of like bitterness to it that for some people is going to make it way more interesting because it gives it more of a unique feel, and then other people are gonna smell that and be like, oh God, if they would have left that out, it would have been so much better. So beware of that. But that's also like the fragrance that it is cloning, so. All right, Suits is up next, and this one is one of those very obvious ones you've probably heard about a number of times if you have kept up with clone fragrances, what's going on with them and everything. This is a clone of YSL's Tuxedo, and there are many Tuxedo alternatives out there at this point. It's one of the more clone cloned fragrances. And I mean, that's really obvious. When you take a look at this bottle and the name and everything, it's Tuxedo, yeah. We know. And it's a really, really good one too. To be fair, most Tuxedo clones are pretty well done typically, but this is right toward the top. So that warmth, that sweetness, that classy, sexy edge to it that Tuxedo has is also here, only at a much, much lower price point. And for a while I was saying, you know, Suits is a really good one to pick up if you want a Tuxedo clone. But you know, the Tux is sold out or something like that. You know, you're looking for the Tux, oh, it's not there. Well, if Suits is there, it's just as good. Pick that one up. And sometimes Suits was cheaper, which made it even better. But then people started to kind of find out that Suits was really good. And then it also was a little bit difficult to find for a while. But if you want a Tuxedo alternative, that is an awesome one, Suits. Up next, we got Posh Omega. This one is a clone of Le Male Essence de Parfum from Jean Paul Gaultier, not Le Male Parfum, not Le Male Elixir, none of the others. It's Essence de Parfum, which came in kind of a modern, angular looking bottle style, similar to the Le Beau bottles, only without a leaf covering up his package, his Johnson. So yeah, it's a clone of that, Essence de Parfum, which also smells a bit similar to C.H. Brevet from Carolina Herrera, if you're familiar with that one. It is a smooth leather fragrance, just the right amount of sweetness, a little warm, really classy, very sexy, perfect for an evening out in fall and winter time. And I gotta say, Essence de Parfum, I don't feel like got a fair shake, man. Essence de Parfum is an awesome flanker. The more I wore that after it came out, the more I fell in love with it. But that was basically here today, gone tomorrow. But if you like that fragrance, but you don't want to spend a lot of money picking up another bottle, or you don't want to run through your bottle that you have, this smells really close. Up next, we have Franais 6355. This is a clone of BDK's Gris Charnel. And I have to say once again, this is an excellent alternative to that fragrance. There are some faint differences between the two. This one off my skin is a little bit sweeter than Gris Charnel. Gris Charnel is a little bit drier, but that's mainly in the opening. As it dries down, they become just goofy close, especially in the air. They also have another one, Franais 107.9 or just 107.9, however you want to say it. And that one is an alternative to Rouge Smoking. Also very, very well done. So both of these Franais are BDKs, or at least the two that I have, and both of them are worth checking out. Back to another very obvious one as far as just emulating what the packaging of the fragrance they're cloning looks like, because some of these do that, obviously, like this guy right here and this one right here, and then others are extremely different, like this or this. This one is looking like that. What could that be? The one and only, yeah, the one and only Moonlit Night. This is a clone of Luminous Night, which is sort of like what's going on over here with Supreme LOM Extreme. This was very hard to find for a long time. Like I said, easier now. Luminous Night, really hard to find for a long time, and still really hard to find. I don't know if it's ever gonna be one of those ones that's always in stock. Even at high prices at discounters, Luminous Night sells out pretty much instantly when it gets in stock. So there definitely is a need for this. So yeah, the one Luminous Night is what this is emulating. It's gonna get you that same kind of spicy, warm, you know, slightly gourmand kind of sweetness with the note of dates, of course, being very prominent. Another one that smells fantastic in the air and is absolutely 100% worth getting as an alternative to the one Luminous Night, unless you just want to pony up big time cash for the OG, which is an absolutely amazing scent. All right, we are to the last one. This one is, as of right now, not very easy to find in the US. This is one of those ones that's kind of a hassle. Hopefully that changes. But right now, it is a little hard to find. Don't overpay for it or anything. You know, if nothing else, if you're interested in it, just wait, and I'm sure it'll matriculate to all the usual places. It is Sultan the Founder. Bottle's pretty cool. It looks like a little robe wrapped around it, like a little king. Bottle has this almost rubberized matte finish, which is really cool feeling. And then you got this crown cap. And then the box is actually pretty good too. Fragrance World presentation is pretty nice. So it says the Founder right here. You open it up and the bottle sits down in here. My favorite thing though, this is not weird. When you first open this, it smells like a pair of new shoes, like a shoe shop, shoe store. It starts to fade away pretty quickly, but when you very first open it up, it smells like that. I know that there are some people out there that like that smell. Don't pretend you don't. So this is a clone of Gisa Imperial Valley. I know that's not as well known as everything else that we talked about here today, but that's what it is. And this one is gonna be another one of those fragrances that for some people it works extremely well and gives you a unique, powerful fragrance that lasts forever. It's gonna set you apart and, you know, potentially draw attention and everything. And then for other people, they're gonna smell this and be like, no, thank you. Off the top, it's really fresh actually, and has very faint similarities to how something like Bulgari Tiger would come across, but with less citrus, less sweet. So I guess not really like Bulgari Tiger at all. But it has a nice freshness off the top regardless. Then as it dries down, it takes on a little bit of a darker tone to it. You get leather that comes out, oud that comes out with like this soapy kind of mid-tone, because it's not really an overtone or an undertone. It's there, but it's not necessarily the star of the show, but it's always present. It's omnipresent. Omnipresent? Yeah. So this is interesting nonetheless, and if you're familiar with the fragrance that it's cloning, then you should right away, once you spray this on, be like, oh, yes, very good. And yeah, really cool presentation too. I mean, it's like walking that line between like kind of gaudy, but cool. I don't know, I think it's the rubberized feel that's getting me. I always dig that. So there we go, 10 Fragrance World clones, alternatives, whatever you want to call them, that you should know about. These ones I feel like are some of the best bang for your buck. These all have very good quality. None of these have anything that really, you know, sticks out or anything like that in a poor way. Just all very well done. And some great presentations here. They're all very different looking, and they all have like a different idea, but they pull it off. Thank you guys for hanging with me. Stay safe out there. I will see you tomorrow with another fragrance video. See you guys later.